Hello everybody, and I haven't seen you in 2 weeks. I'm waiting for this to start. Okay. Honestly, I was planning on having one more day of vacation, but with everything that's been going on, I thought let's just talk a little bit because we are in the beginning of a very bad time for all of us. And as I said before, hi Diane, hi Elaine, hi Jessica, hi Nokomis, hi Judy, hi Ellen. As I said before, my channel altogether is the biggest chunk of my audience is people over 45, and out of that, again, my biggest chunk is people over 50 who are disabled or have other health issues. So yes, you did. Hi Susan, hi Don, hi Chris, hi Whispering Cauldron. So the thing is that most of us, we are in that bullseye target of segment of the population who, if we get it, we would be the hardest hit because we have so many issues. While I'm talking to you, I already prepared a few things so we don't have to wait for me to bake and stuff. And this is just white in which I put a touch of black. So while I'm talking to you, I'm going to be mixing this. Hi Colleen, hi Carol. What can we do and what is going on? In the US, the number of cases has creeped up to I think it was last time I looked was 3,200. But we have to think that these numbers are well below reality because we had such little testing, and it's getting worse and worse. So what can we do? A lot of us actually like for me, there won't be a lot of difference between our everyday life because a lot of us are more or less hermits because of our disabilities. We don't really get out of the house much and everything. Nevertheless, hi Dawn, hi Isabel, hi Diane. Nevertheless, the thing is that it is scary. It is very, very scary. I survived in 2009. I survived the H1N1, even if I had it. I actually had it, and it was horrible. Hi Jerry Bean Angel. Hi Sunny Lion. Hi Laura. And it is very, very scary. And no matter what anybody says, it's the fear of the unknown and the fact that we know that we are in the beginning of this is just the beginning. Okay. Hi Gail, hi Jessica, hi Gabby. But what can we do? What I can tell you that what I started doing, and I started doing actually I think a couple weeks ago, because obviously, you know, it's the thing of if you go out, I know that in the beginning they said do not wear masks. Love to you too, Luan. Do not wear masks. And when I read that, I was like, are you serious? And then now they are coming back and they are saying, oh no, the latest studies showed that Joanna, actually it's more or less tongue-in-cheek. And the other thing, okay, as I'm getting sidetracked a little bit on explaining why I decided to make a coronavirus thing. I live in Oklahoma, okay, and we are the smack dab middle of the tornado alley. Hi, Carol. And of course, tornadoes are something terrifying. Nevertheless, personally, and I'm not the only one thinking that, probably it might be a matter of being from Oklahoma. Hi, in California, we had that happening too. And tornadoes, nevertheless, are gorgeous. Most of them. There are some of them that are ugly, but most of them are gorgeous. And it's also a matter of, and I know I'm not the only polymer clay artist, since the photo of the COVID-19 has been circulating. I've been looking at it and I'm sorry. I think it's pretty. It looks pretty. Just because something is scary and terrifying, and that's the other aspect of it. Just because something is it's also for awareness, but the main thing is, just because something is terrifying, do not give it power over you. Do not avoid mentioning it. Do not avoid looking at it, because that actually increases your fear. Yeah, it exists. Yeah, it is out there. Yeah, some of us will get it. Yeah, some of us might even die. This is the reality. But it doesn't mean that we are going to, even if we are self-quarantining, we are not self-quarantining so much out of fear, but out of it's the desire to stop the outbreak, the spreading of it. But don't let fear rule your life, you know. And as Colleen says, the intention of making the coronavirus pendant is mostly for it to be like a talisman, like a thing like, I'm not afraid of you. And once all this passes, to show I survived this. You know, it's kind of, if you want, in a way, it's kind of like the origins of wearing the Halloween costumes. Because the Halloween tradition of wearing costumes and masks and stuff comes from the old Samhain Celtic tradition, and people were making masks so that they would be, the evil spirits that were going around would think that they are one of them. Joanna, I am a breast cancer survivor. I've known people personally who have died of breast cancer. Nevertheless, I did, back when, I did make several pieces of jewelry with pretty much replica of several types of breast cancer cells, and people wear the pink ribbon. What I would suggest, if you are bothered so much about it, then stop watching. Because as much as I understand and respect that it bothers you, nobody holds a gun to your head to watch it. And it's not like I'm going to change my mind or my opinions or my beliefs just because somebody doesn't like it. So it's up to you. It's your choice. You watch it or you don't watch it. So as I said, I choose to not be ruled by fear and to go a little bit tongue-in-cheek and a little bit, if you want, superstitious. Like, you're already here, you don't have to come anymore, you know, if you want. So I think I need a little bit more black into this. So, and I know that I'm not going to, hi Linda, I'm not going to change anybody's opinion, and I don't intend to change anybody's opinion. If you're okay with what I'm doing, join. If not, don't join. I mean, as I said, nobody puts a gun to your head. So, I would be very grateful if we'd stop this line of discussion, because this is not why I'm doing the live. So, of the things that I started doing before the numbers got, hi Alessio, before the numbers got to be so high, my main thing, and remember that they started recently saying that actually the virus can live for like 30 minutes in the air from the droplets of people cough or sneeze. And so yeah, I've been wearing a mask when I go out because I don't want to inhale, you know. The other thing is that it can live on certain surfaces, they say 3 days, but some other studies, especially the ones from China, talk about up to 9 days. And the thing is that they live less on porous surfaces like paper, cardboard, stuff like that, and longer on flat, non-porous surfaces like metal, certain types of plastic, and all that. So in this respect, what I've been doing for definitely more than a week, might be 2 weeks, but definitely 10 days, when I'm getting, because I get most of my stuff online, there is whenever I get packages, because I have a ton of nitrile gloves for polymer clay in the house, I put on the nitrile gloves and I open the boxes out on the porch and upend them on the porch. I have 2 chairs on the porch. And then I throw the boxes in my recycled bin and turn the nitrile gloves inside out and throw everything in the recycle bin, and then I get my stuff inside. The other thing that I do, I have the little disinfecting wipes, and the same thing when I get my mail, I wipe the letters or big envelopes or whatever it is. I have a designated spot to put them on when I bring them in the house. And again, I first wipe them, then I open them, because it's harder for me to open them with the gloves on. And then again, I take the envelopes out to the recycle bin and I wash my hands thoroughly. The other thing that I started doing, again for at least 10 days, whenever I have to get out of the house, because I still have to go to the doctor, as they didn't, apparently they will approve really soon the telemedicine visits, but I've been putting change of clothes, house clothes, near my on my dryer in the laundry room. And when I come home from outside, I go directly in the laundry room. I put my purse on the dryer. I disrobe entirely, and I put everything in the dryer, and I turn it on high for 20 minutes. And Then I put my regular clothes on and I wipe my purse. The purse can be really, really, really bad. And of course, I wash my hands thoroughly. I was lucky in that being a cancer survivor with a lowered immune system, I'm already kind of super disinfecting stuff. So I had quite a good number of hand sanitizer and wipes and hydrogen peroxide and bleach and all that in the house. So I didn't really need to get desperately buying. I actually didn't buy any extra because I have, even if I'm left with only 2 of the purse-sized hand sanitizers, I have hand sanitizers at each sink in my house, and I got one of those big bottles to refill them. And the little purse ones are very easy refillable with those little disposable syringes that we have for resin. So yeah, this is one of the things. Of course, I made my last grocery shopping. I actually did an Instacart. When I went by myself grocery shopping at my local Winco, there was no problem with toilet paper. Like an idiot, I didn't buy more paper towels. So I hope I don't run out of them completely. My main fear, honestly, is not so much about myself, because I can get out of the keto diet that I'm doing. If push comes to shove, I can just get out of the keto diet. And, you know, I got plenty of rice and beans and stuff. My main worry is Whisper, because if Whisper eats anything that he cannot eat, remember, he cannot eat 4 things: boneless, skinless chicken breast, fat-free cottage cheese, boiled sweet potatoes, and hard-boiled eggs. So I'm worried about him. If the food supply is not going to be, I'm going to get my, just have some of the specialty kibble for liver disease ordered, even if it's so expensive, but just to have it in the house in case I cannot find his stuff anymore. I already ordered extra kitty litter and kitty food, so I wouldn't have issues. But let's get back to this. I mixed my, you have to get kind of like a little bit of a dirty white. They said that some people might, it's rare, but some people might experience nausea and stomach issues. Yeah, the bottled water, I didn't understand it. I really didn't understand it. And then there's all those other drink bleach. Oh my God, when I heard that, I was like, are you freaking serious? I have plenty of alcohol because I usually buy the alcohol and hydrogen peroxide in boxes of 12 bottles, so I'm good with that. So let me actually bring up the photo that we are going to use. Give me just a second. But I guess pretty much everybody knows what I'm talking about. It's this one. Not this one. Oh, shut up. I hate all these ads. See, this one. So, for this one, see how the white, let me see if I cannot find a better, larger image of this. This might be a better. Let's make it bigger. So see how it's a fairly, it's not really gray, but it's a more like a dirty white, right? So getting back to it, yeah, that's another idiotic thing with the you know what they go by? There's actually, they are called pine berries, and they look like strawberries, only that they are white and the seeds are red, kind of like backwards than the regular strawberries. All right, so the next thing I did, and you can use regular clay, but I would suggest you use bake and bend until that cast clay will come out on the market. And the cast clay is absolutely fabulous for making textures, and I just found the Finnegan hair here, because this is what happens when I have kitties who like clay and they get on my clay table. So all that I did, and I'm going to show you how to go about it to do this, because I thought I need to imitate that. Let's go back to it for a second. See all this texture thingy, and to me it obviously looks like a bubble texture, but very, very small. Yeah, I used to have a microscope myself. So what I did, and let me show you exactly how I went about it. Where's my other? I have gremlins. They stole my other ball stylus. They stole my small ball stylus. I think I have another one. So initially I went with the next to smallest ball stylus. Okay, and I placed my clay, it's not on the thickest setting, it's like on a Makins, it's not on 1, it's on 2. So the 2 is the equivalent of the other machine's thickest. So I placed it directly on the tile, so I don't have to move it, so it would be a little bit more firm placed when I try to do the clay through it. So initially I went with the next to the thinnest, and I went, it's gonna take a little bit to get the proper texture, so I went and I did all this. Okay, and then I went with this one is the equivalent of this set, smallest, and then I went with the smallest one and covered up all the spaces in between the slightly larger ones. And you kind of make, because I already baked some, I used you have the 5 pieces Premo cutter set, and I used the second largest, and I simply put it on a bowl. You can put it, if you have that Scalpy baking tray, you can use that, but I wanted it to be slightly convex so that it would sit better. And I made 3 so we don't have to wait so long. I'm going to show you first how to put on the backing, how to make the backing, and then after you make the backing, I'll show you how we make the front of it. Thank you, Maria. Yeah, we all have little gremlins. And we'll talk more while I'm working. So do this until you make pretty much the size of whatever. Well, you can make it larger, of course, but I wanted to make pretty much the size of my cutter. So my next thing will be, and I want this again to be not on the thickest setting. Oh, and by the way, these were on a medium thin, not the thinnest, but I think I used like a 6 on the makings. So I'm going to get this through the machine on the, let me think, let me go through with a 4 and then I'll go with a 5 if it's too thick. No, a 4 seems just fine. And I don't need all of it at once. And I do have some. This seems cleaner. So I'm going to put a little bit of release agent, and I like to use always Armor All, not water. And I'll explain sometime later why I always use Armor All and why I don't like to use water or talcum powder. But you always want to use the release agent on the clay, not on the texture, because if you release it on the texture, some of it might go in the little recesses, and what's on the top might not get it, so you don't really want to go with that. And you can use a cosmetic sponge or you can use wax paper so that the clay will not stick to your roller. So let's give it a nice roll and see how this works. I didn't do this before, so this is my first thing. This is my first attempt. This mirror thing is kind of sliding. Okay, let's see if it comes off. Yeah, I might try and go a little bit more on it. It's not, I did a good impression here, but not that good of an impression here. It's my hands. Sorry about that. Let me try and put this on something so it wouldn't slide so badly. And once again, let's do a little bit of release agent. And this time I'm going to use wax paper because I think that it slides too much with the cosmetic sponge. The makings to the Atlas, the one on the makings is thicker than the one on the Atlas. The two on the makings is the one on the Atlas, and then you go, and the Atlas being able to do a thinnest, that's pretty much how you translate. So whatever I'm saying makings, deduct 1 for the Atlas. Okay, let's try this again. It might take me a few attempts. Sorry, but that's my hands. The makings having that a little bit thicker, it's actually really, really good. Yay, I did it right. It looks good. Alrighty, so I got this. Let's grab one of them and do first the backing. Okay, let's get one of these out. And of course, right now I'm not going to waste time and sand, but you want to do a very slight, you know, just 1 or 2 wipes with sandpaper on the edges to make the edges just perfect. So I'm going to grab whatever texture sheet for the back of it. I think that this grass looks pretty good. Bye, Chris. Always late is better than never, Francis. Okay, let me see if I missed anything. Okay, also don't forget that my channel was approved to be one of the channels that has closed caption, live closed captioning. So if you have any issues understanding what I'm saying, you can turn on the closed captioning on your screen. Okay, let's do this again. And I'm going to go with the grain this time. That's a pretty good impression. And yes, I will have a whole bunch of stuff to show you once I'm starting next week. All right, so first thing, we want to put some bacon bond, right? And generally speaking, for backing, you always want a type of texture that you can make. If you make a bale, you can make the bale, you can continue the design on the texture where you put the bale, so it wouldn't be so you know, noticeable that you added something there. And by the way, you can do this as a brooch as well, and I've shown before how to make brooches. So instead of making a bale on the back, just look at any of the brooch tutorials I have to see how to do the back of the brooch. So always when you start, and I'm going to actually cut it with the next largest cutter, so I don't have all this clay flopping around, and always start in the middle. So this is one of the ways of doing it, and you can, once you got everything and you don't notice any bubble trapped, you can start gently folding it over. Thank you, Anna, and hello, by the way. So yeah, and as I was saying, your main thing is to avoid human interaction. And by the way, pretty much all the online grocery ordering services have now no contact. They will come and they will drop the groceries on your porch. You don't have to interact with the people who are bringing your groceries. I would still suggest to, I don't know, get some kind of big tub or something out the door, and, you know, with gloves or something, and upend all the bags And if you want, you can even wipe them with wipes, because you don't know how many people have touched those things, those packages, before they were brought to you. It's not just about not having any contact with the delivery people, but careful with the items, you know. And then the most of the produce you can wash with the dish detergent. Dish detergent is not really toxic because it's used for dishes. And I still remember, I mean, I lived through the Chernobyl thing, and for quite a good time we washed our lettuce and vegetables with dish detergent. I remember my dad, who was a high school principal, he brought from the lab of the high school a portable Geiger counter. And you would not believe, but pretty much everything that we bought during that time was kind of hot. Hi, Lila. Okay, so this would be the backing. Now let's do a bail, and I'll show you on the other one how to do one with the, which is much easier to do with the texture sponge. Now for the bail, you want to go one sitting down to make it a little bit thicker. And I'll show you another trick. I usually use these dowels for bales, and you can get them even at the dollar store. For I normally get them at the Dollar Tree. It's $1 for, I think they are 25 in a package. But one thing that I do, I cover them with aluminum foil because it's much easier to take them out, because sometimes the wood can expand a little and it's got these fibers, so it's hard to take it out of the clay. If you rewarm the clay, you can get it easier, and the same thing happened with the toothpicks. But if you have it wrapped in aluminum foil, then you can take it out, and then you can gently peel the aluminum foil from the inside of the bale. So once again, I'm going to do this. And very careful on how you cut here. So I'm going to make it about 1/3 of the total, and I want to cut with the lines. So one here, and one here, and then for the bale itself, or when it wraps, you do the cut outwards in a 45 degrees diagonal. Let me do it where it's a little bit stronger. But for when it goes on here, you do it the other way. So let me first wrap it. And then I'm turning it upside down, because it's easier to cut outwards than inwards. And then do another cut outwards. Let me grab this. And then place it kind of like, and you don't have it to make it this long. You can make it shorter. I made it longer so you can see better what's going on. And kind of try to find the It is too long. Let me cut it shorter. Even for demonstration purposes, it's still too long. And then I'm just going in and gently, actually a toothpick would do better job. I'm pressing down exactly in these grooves to get it now. You can bake it with the dowel in, or you can gently remove the dowel. And let me continue this job. And then bring it over. Actually, the best tool to do this is, okay, not this. Sorry, wrong tool. Would be one of the silicone tipped things. And just continue the groove in the texture. And then you can go in and press a little bit so that your bail would be perfectly level. And you can put it lower, you can put it higher to come out from behind the pendant. Wherever you want to put it, it's up to you. Now let's do the texture sponge, and then we'll get on making the front. Now with the texture sponge, I'm gonna go pretty much like this. I'm first cutting my piece. I'm gonna grab another one of these. Again, place bake and bond. Oh, Arlene, it was actually interesting because they hadn't announced anything that it was coming or anything. And at the time when the cloud went over Romania, I was out in the woods with my first husband. We're picking up mushrooms. So when we got back home, our parents were absolutely freaking out because we were out in the open when the whole thing happened. So, different than with the texture, again, you don't put anything. You just get the plain clay, again, go from the middle towards the sides, and you'll see why I always prefer to do the backing with the texture sponge. Yeah, you know, I mean, you kind of need to be hoarding, because you don't know if you see how the infection spreads pretty much exponentially. This is what it was. What do you want? Go to bed. Go to bed. I've let you out. Every day, because I made a little graph on Excel to track the spread. See what happens when you put it you go from the middle. You can actually push the air bubbles out. And I went by percentage, not by number. Okay, Anne. Anna, have a good Sunday. Oh, that's really bad, Beth. And each day, because the way I calculated was how much the numbers of new cases in one day, what percentage it was from the number of cases the day before, and the percentage rose. So it went from 20% to 22% to 25%. I think that right now we are to like 38 or 40%, something like that. So yeah, you don't know if 2 weeks from now there would be enough people healthy to actually run a grocery store. That's why you kind of want to hoard at least staples, not hoard on beans, hoard on rice, hoard on canned foods, stuff that will last for a while without the need of refrigeration or anything. Yeah, you'll have to cook it, but as grocery stores shelves are empty. And by the way, when I did the Instacart grocery online order, I ordered Friday evening, not really evening, late afternoon. But the soonest delivery time I could get was Saturday between 6 and 7. So they were pretty much overwhelmed. And the lady who did my grocery shopping for me, she couldn't find quite a good number of the stuff that I had ordered. Okay, so once you got it fully covered, that is when you do the texture. You don't have any, Beth, you don't have in your area any pharmacy that does delivery? Because that is really, really, insulin, and even for cats, insulin is a really big problem. Right now, what I'm the most worried about is Finnegan was supposed to get, I called and I managed to get his neutering surgery from the 7th of April back to the 2nd of April, but I don't want to go too much back because the whole idea is that not to do it too early so his little urinary tract system has enough time to develop properly so he wouldn't have issues later in life, So I'm really worried what's going to be 2 weeks from now, when he has to go in for surgery. Okay, so you put the texture. And you'll see why it is much easy. So you saw how it's much easier to make the texture with the texture sponge. And again, outwards. I should have gotten it on a thicker. But remember to do the clay on a thicker setting for the bale. Outwards, wrap it until you get to do a full circle, and then with it upside down, make another cut outwards, place it, and this time what you can do, and it's the same for brooches, because here we do have a little bit of a, you simply feather it a little bit here like this, and then you come on top of it with the texture sponge, and there you can barely see that there's a joining. Yeah, that's the best thing to do. I was actually thinking this year I should start growing again some tomatoes and some cucumbers. Okay, let's go to the front of it. And it is absolutely normal, and I would expect that to start being that. And that's why I asked if there are no pharmacies who that deliver, because in my area also the pharmacies deliver exactly for that reason, so you don't come in contact. And I saw my spine and pain management doctor Friday. No, not Friday. Yeah, Friday the 13th. And he said that he already registered for the program for telehealth, so that hopefully next month I won't have to go there to get my thing. I don't want to do his surgery sooner, Isabel, because it's dangerous for him in the long run. That's why I'm waiting for him to turn 6 months old, so his all his stuff down there develops enough. Because the main thing with male neutered cats, if they are neutered too early, later in life, the risk of them getting kidney stones and getting into renal failure is very, very high, and all kinds of complications because of the neutering. I'm keeping my eye out for these two. The big guys have been neutered earlier, but for Finnegan I'm gonna wait until 6 months. Oh my god. Hello, Italy, how are you? Okay, I guess I should have made it a little bit bigger, but oh well. Let me pull on it to extend it some. Very gently pull it. It's still not big enough. I should have made that, but you get the idea. I should have made my texture a little bit bigger. But you get the whole idea of how to make it. Okay. Yes, that's what we were talking about. The self-quarantine and isolation, and how to get, I mean, you can ask neighbors to get stuff for you, but before you bring anything in the house, make sure that you disinfect it. I mean, because I made a new schedule for myself after this vacation, and initially I intended to go for walks and things. Okay, it's definitely a little bit too small. Oh well, it's going to have to make do. But that's the main idea: disinfect everything before you bring it in the house. So I would first make the backing and bake it, and then start working on the front. But that's why I made it separately. Okay, and let's give it a little, what did I do with my, oh, there it is. Let's give it just a pinch more texture on the edges here. Yeah, that's why I started this live with the idea that this is just the beginning. And there's a lot of things happening with people organizing online prayer groups and all that, and that is a good thing. Another thing that I would suggest that you do, if you have Facebook, Facebook now has group video chat. You can add more, and the same goes for Skype, but Facebook is much easier to use. You can add more than one person to a discussion. And I can tell you something. I don't believe a word of what comes out of Russia. I'm sure that they are affected. With me becoming so much of a hermit due to all my disability issues and health issues, I never feel alone because I visit with people all the time via video chat. And visiting with people via video chat is pretty much like if you were together. You can have lunch together, you can have coffee together, you can do all kinds of things. Okay, then the next, you can do it with a black acrylic wash, or I'm going to do it with black powder. And as powder, you can use chalk pastel, or, and remember that I prefer to use that, it's the Franco Garcia. Let me go grab it. Let me find it. Okay, so let's grab a brush. And give it a little bit of black. You know what I saw in a couple places online? It was so beautiful in Italy. I forgot what region. But it was, an area with apartment buildings, with multi-story buildings. And everybody was on their balcony and they sang, and they had one of them had an accordion, one had a tambourine, one had a drum, one had a flute, and some were just singing. And it was so beautiful to see the resilience of the human beings. And one could only think, only Italy can do that. And the other thing is, as I said, this is the beginning. We have to prepare ourselves for this lasting for a month, 2 months, 3 months. Nobody knows. And then later on, if things get worse, generally just don't go out, because you've seen things that have been happening around the world and everywhere, how bad people can get when they don't find what they are looking for. I mean, fear brings the animal out in each of us. It is not a nice thing to watch. sometimes closing these. Alrighty, now let's get this off. Shake it. Oh my god, this makes a mess. I know it makes a mess. I still used it. No, with the heat, the virus doesn't die at all. I mean, whoever spreads that should be ashamed of themselves for making people believe that. I think that it is spread all over the world, including in countries that are in the southern hemisphere where it's summer, and in countries that are near the equator where it's always warm. So no, the virus doesn't die. It does die with higher heat, not the season. You know? So don't think that we're gonna be out of it once the spring comes. And of course I had to make stuff drop because I'm looking for my tape. I know I had it here. And I cannot find it. Give me just a second. I'm gonna go get the tape from the kitchen. Oh. And I got my paint pill. Depends what you mean. I mean, what I know that works, because I've read in several, and putting in play my medical knowledge. Definitely alcohol works, but it has to be medicinal alcohol, the kind that's like 70 degrees. Don't use vodka. It doesn't work. Hydrogen peroxide works, but you need to let it sit for a few minutes. Bleach works. Lysol 409 would work. Anything that's got either bleach or hydrogen peroxide in it will work. And your best bet is always water and soap. So in my opinion, if you need to wash counters and doorknobs and stuff like that, just use a detergent that has soap in it. Okay, so yeah, from everything that I've read, and you know that I am quite a bit of a nerd and I know how to search online and everything. So everything that I've read, the number one, it can be transmitted even if you have no symptoms. Not only that, but they found out that people who do not present symptoms but were carriers had in their upper respiratory tract a higher number of viruses than people who already had symptoms. The symptoms occur pretty much 3 to 14 days, and in some cases they appeared 20 days after exposure. Mainly the symptoms are cough, sneeze, fever, but in some cases they are very similar to the flu. Some people have rashes. But what you have to understand is the way the generally upper respiratory infection viruses work. They go in through your nose, through your mouth, and sometimes through your eyes, because they travel through the tear duct. And they are not, at this point, they are not very dangerous. They are dangerous when they get in the upper part of your lung, because that is where they start multiplying. This is why smokers and vapors are at a higher risk, because of the inhaling. Another thing is that you might be carrying it, but it not moving into your lower respiratory system until you sleep. Because when you sleep, there's quite a bit of stuff that goes down, but the body automatically brings it back up and sends it to the esophagus, so it would be swallowed and digested by the stomach. But people who have COPD, apnea, and stuff like that, when they sleep, the chances of the virus traveling to the lungs is higher. And that's where the problems start, because once the virus gets in the lungs, it starts multiplying. And then your immune system sends all kinds of cells to remove the excess powder. Now I want to remove some from that's too much in the recesses, and I'm gonna do more. So when it starts getting into your lungs and it gets into those little alveoli, bronchioles, and all those little small components of your lung, and your immune system starts sending antibodies and white blood cells to try and kill the virus. And because of all the little war going on there, the lining of the lung, of those little vacuoles, those little pouches, minuscule pouches, where normally the air goes in and through the lining gets into the bloodstream, that lining becomes too thick for the air to be able to enter the bloodstream anymore. And this is where you start getting respiratory distress. You have to be put on a ventilator, and if the lining gets too thick and you don't manage to get air in your blood, you start getting organ failure and you die. This is why elderly people and people who have either cardiovascular issues, blood pressure issues, or and now you saw I put some alcohol here and I'm going to wipe it, or pulmonary issues are at more danger, because like, for example, to give you an example, for myself, one of the chemo drugs that I had 10 years ago actually attacked my lungs, and I have what's called apical fibrosis. That means apical, it means it's at the top of my lungs, and fibrosis is that, oops, I got too much here, means that some of the lining in my lungs is fibrous, so the air cannot get into the blood. This is why I'm permanently short of breath, and sometimes it's noticeable when I talk, or I talk for too long. So this is why it is so dangerous. And by what I noticed on all the websites, our health websites I went to in all kinds of countries and all kinds of languages that I know, it seems that the most dangerous pre-existing condition to have is cardiovascular disease. The second is diabetes. The third is pre-existing lung issues. Okay, I think that we are fairly good at this point. Let me look at the image again. Yeah, that's pretty good. Maybe a little bit more. Okay, yeah, you can do this with a cane if you want. Absolutely. But, okay. Yeah, and it is great that a lot of things are done online now, including, but what I'm thinking is, can you imagine how hard it is to get back to the norm once this is all over? Okay, so let's grab a little bit of red. And it looks like it's a fairly strong red, but maybe not cadmium red. It looks more like the chili red, the chili in Premo. And I do not have orange. I mean, I might have in the drawer, but just for a couple fumbles, I'm not gonna open a whole package, so I'm going to grab a little bit of yellow here. Okay, so let me mix a little bit of red. Good luck and stay safe. Okay, so. Hi, Rachel. It's okay. It's gonna be still here. So the next thing is to put those little broccoli-like thingies on. But I think I'm gonna first put the little orange thingies on. Because those are just little crumbs that, and I had black on my hands. That was stupid. But yeah, and I am sorry, nowadays the laughing makes things go by easier. And I know on Facebook I've been posting a whole bunch of funny memes. But generally, gathering, talking, and all that makes things. I already did when I went to get the tape. I went and got a pill. Gathering and talking about, and this is what is the worst thing about this virus, because in everything else, whenever we have a problem, being in a community, hugs, and all that makes us feel safer. Being part of a group makes us feel safer. This is why people always strive to be part of a community, to be part of a group, to be. And in this case, the very nature of the situation makes us unable to find safety and peace of mind in numbers. And I was thinking, what will be the repercussions on humanity after all this is over? It's not going to be pretty. But I guess this is one of the reasons why most sci-fi creators envision a society where everybody lives in the virtual you know. Okay, so let me grab a few of these. Just plug them in here. To be very honest, I'm not even sure if the COVID even has these colors, because most of it is the electron microscope doesn't really show colors like this. But you know, it did look pretty. And I'm not the only artist who wondered, hey, I wonder if I can do this in clay. And of course you can do it much faster than I did it here. Okay. Hi Inessa, you're from Illinois? Ilessa Goldberg. Okay, I have no idea what Samo Poznanie means. Yes, that is true, Susan. That is very, very true. Okay, and now I'm gonna get some of this chili red, and I'm not going to condition it at all, because when you condition it, it makes it much harder to chop it. The pieces tend to stick together. What is in the gold cost? Oh, okay. Okay, so let's first make a few droplets that we can put on there to be the stalks of the red broccolis. Trying to not let them, trying to keep them separated, like for the coronavirus epidemic. They must not congregate. Heat does destroy it, but as I said, not the warmer weather kind of heat. Okay, so now I'm putting little, actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do this. Sounds better for the stalks. Do those stalks look like they have any rhyme or reason? Nope. So they are random. Random stalks. So see, I made a little snake here, and I cut the pieces and I put them so they would kind of stand up. And then on top of them I'm going to place a few of the little grains to make it look like those red broccoli stalks that we can see in the photo. Another thing that I think you can do easily would be to make a cabochon. and then make this using a dirty lace cane. That would be a lace cane with the inside, that dirty white wrapped in black or dark gray, and make a veneer out of that if you want to make it on a smaller and more convex plane. And then on top of that, do the broccoli thing. Okay, stay there. Oh, absolutely. Anybody who has any kind of breathing issues. Let me give you guys the link in chat to the image. Yeah, so essentially it's not dangerous until it gets in your lungs. Once it gets in your lungs, that's when it becomes dangerous. And with elderly people, people with compromised immune systems. So Ray, if you go to, who said? Yeah, Ray, if you go to that link, you can see the broccolis better. I mean, to me, they look like little broccoli stalks. And a few more here. Yeah, I know, it would be nice if we had a mold of this, huh? But this is that generally all of the coronavirus type viruses, they have this shape. I was looking, just the colors they are presented with are different. I was looking, SARS had some blue in it. Okay, now I'm going to try and separate these a little bit more. Which is a pain because so my advice to you is to leach the red clay first for the chili clay is quite soft. And it was like that from the moment I got it. So the softer the clay is, the harder it will be to separate these. So you might want to leach your clay a little bit before starting to do the crumbles. Actually, I heard somebody with a very nice song. It was something lemon something. I forgot the name. He was playing a guitar and singing. It was pretty neat. So now we got them separated some. So now I'm going to start placing the crumbles on top of the stalks. It's a pain. It's a pain. Okay, let me put this a little bit closer so you can see better. What I'm doing here. Make sure that this is at the lightest, brightest. Okay. So as you can see, I have all these stalks here, and now I'm grabbing little groups of crumbles and putting them on top of those stalks. I might have to cut some more. Just make sure that you press them on the stalks, because you don't want them to start coming off. You know, I thought about that song when the things first started getting around. I forgot who was singing it. Yeah, I mean, go and rest. You need to get better, especially now. And this will still be here after you get up. It only takes, I think, like not even 5 minutes to process and show up. But yeah, it's a little bit of work to do this pendant, but then the whole image is not very easy. It's kind of complicated. I'm gonna have to make more crumbles. But yeah, and talking about keeping updated with the numbers, I personally prefer, there's a website that's called meters.com, and they seem to be the most on top of things. I know that Johns Hopkins has a website with a map, but they don't seem to be updated as good. Yeah, it is scary, and that's why I started the whole thing, so we can discuss all kinds of advice and what everybody does. I am terrified. I mean, honestly, I know that if I get it, I'll have a very, very harsh time, and I have to think about my pets. I mean, the cats, it's not so bad. They can take care of themselves for a good number of days. But Whisper, he would die. He would definitely die. He needs so much special care that it's not like I would find easily somebody to come take care of the pets of a person in the house of a person who's been diagnosed with COVID-19, you know. Oh, and yeah, and the other bad thing is that it seems it doesn't, once you get it, it doesn't give you much immunity. There are people who got it the second time. So But honestly, to me, it almost looks like it was genetically targeted to the elderly and the people with issues. You know, at the time when the world population started growing pretty much beyond the sustainability, it targets exactly the segment of population that doesn't produce for society but starts becoming a burden to society, if you get my meaning. It's a little bit too targeted. Yeah, so you're not in a good shape either. Okay, I have here a few more. I think it looks pretty good, doesn't it? I should have used gray dust instead of black dust, though. It makes it a little bit too dark. Yeah, I wouldn't put it past anybody, and the fact that it's coming from China, China has a population issue. It makes don't get me wrong, I hate conspiracy theories, but this one just seems too targeted. You know, because somebody was asking me when I was talking about something like that on a forum, and somebody was asking me, but how can you make a virus recognize a certain age in people? Very easily. There's a lot of ways, like just recognizing the length of the telomeres, because you know how the telomeres shorten at when the DNA replicates as we grow old. That's why we age, because not all of the things in the DNA replicate properly as the telomeres start getting shortened, and it's enough to make it recognize shortened telomeres. And attack worse, multiply better, stuff like that. You know, it might be just pure, but in my mind it's just too specifically targeted. Okay, I covered all the broccoli stock. No, I think that I might just make another one, but with gray, but I think it looks fairly good. Hold on, let me refocus a little bit so that you can see it better. Or let me just bring the camera down, because it works much better when it's not in zoom. Let me grab it. Pretty much, I think that it looks pretty good for the purpose. But as I said, because it's a fairly complicated thing to make, I would first do the backing, you know, do all the backing, and then start working on the front, you know. So I guess this is it. Before I get offline though, let me announce that I finally got, yeah, that's possible too, Arlene. I finally got to 1,000 likes on Facebook. And on St. Patrick's Day, I'm going to do a giveaway. It's gonna be a little contest giveaway, and it probably, I'm not yet sure exactly what the theme of the contest, because I'm thinking between several things, will be, but and the giveaway will be $100 gift certificate for PolyClay play. Unfortunately, and I'm going to be very honest with you, I cannot afford to do the Amazon $100, so it's gonna only be for the people in the US pretty much, because I can afford to do the PolyClay play at this point because I have enough clay. I don't have to buy anything for a while, but with the situation being as it is, my Amazon funds might have to be diverted towards, buying necessary for getting over this period of time. So it's gonna be $100 gift certificate for PolyClay play. And I thought that St. Patrick's Day, it's a good thing. And I know that everybody wants to see Finnegan. So before I leave, let me bring him. And I'm going to bring his little leprechaun hat, so you can see him with his little leprechaun hat. Let me get this larger so you can see him better. Give me a minute. Give me a sweet pea. Give me a sweet pea. Let me know. Oh, nice. Oh, no. Oh, no. He was sleeping. He was sleeping. Let me get this away. That's my baby. Hello. Hello. Let's get this light a little bit down, because he's too white and you cannot see him. I just got a cramp. Okay, this is baby Finnegan. He's still a baby. Let's get your hat on. Let's get your little hat on. Come on, yes. Yes, you can get your hat on. Let it go. I'm putting your hat on, yes. Hold on. Well, if you don't let me do it properly. And there you go. He's the most adorable thing in the world, isn't he? He's a little leprechaun. He looks quite miffed right now. But yeah, he has a photo on his Facebook page. And people see you. Look at the camera, baby. Yes, come on, let's take it off. Yes, that is yours. That is yours, yes. Well, he wants to eat a lot of things. If you watch his videos on Facebook, he's eating the couch most often than not. So, okay, you go. No, leave the hat. No, leave the hat alone. It's got glitter on it. You cannot swallow glitter. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. So he's gonna go back to sleep, okay? And my sweet baby. He's the sweetest thing. Okay, I will see you all next Sunday. And remember, if there is anything and if you feel that you could benefit from another online gathering, but let's do that on Facebook, because if there's anybody else who wants to actually join the live, I can add them to the live. Yes, Mama loves you. So it would be even more interactive, okay? So just let me know and we can do that on Facebook. Okay, have a wonderful day. Okay, baby, you can go down. And stay safe. Love you all. Goodbye.